Board of Education meeting to order. This is a special meeting we have once a year with our students and leadership, where the students get to participate in the board meeting and get to see what it's like. So I'd like to have the roll call, please. Olivia Douglas.
Here. 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 Here.
Here.
Here.
Here.
Rachel, Miss Burns, here.
Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I will be looking for a motion to approve the regular session minutes of December 20th, 2016.
Second.
Say your name for. No, a little bit louder.
Open.
Olivia Douglas, 2018.
We moved it.
Second. Charlie for Mr. Johnson.
Moved by Olivia and second by Charlie. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please. Olivia Douglas. Aye.
Aye.
Rachel? Aye. Motion passes. Now we'll go to the Board Recognition Award.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Carol McNeil is going to present our Board Recognition Award.
Oak Forest High School is pleased to present to you Gil and Corin Henson as the recipients of the January 2017 Board of Education Recognition Award. The Henson family includes 3 sons: Nick, who graduated in 2007, Dylan, who was in the class of 2017, and Tyler, who was in the class of 2019. Unfortunately, Gil is not able to attend tonight due to his schedule. Mr. and Mrs. Henson are an outstanding example of parental involvement, making a difference in our programs and students' lives. Over the years, Mr. and Mrs. Henson have been involved with multiple booster organizations as their sons have participated in football, baseball, basketball, and wrestling. They have raised money for our programs by planning and participating in the Bengals Night Out and the annual golf outing. They have worked hard by slinging Bengal burgers at the concession stand and hosting athletes for the much-loved pasta dinners. These fundraisers have helped us supply our athletes with big-ticket items such as new helmets and special playoff shirts for the winning teams. Mrs. Henson currently serves as the baseball booster president and has gone above and beyond to secure a Disney World trip as an item for our upcoming fundraiser. The Henson's ability and willingness to go above and beyond for their sons and the Oak Forest High School community is much admired and appreciated. Thank you and congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Henson.
I'd like to present this to you. You have helped to provide a positive learning environment for the students of District 228. By the time and talents you share, thank you for caring.
Now we're going to go to the student group's presentations. To prepare for this evening's meeting, the students you see here tonight met with district administrators to provide input regarding various topics related to the high school education experience. They will now present the information to you. College and career transition.
We would like to have more individualized and customized meetings with our counselors. We would like college and career planning to start earlier in high school, so maybe like freshman or sophomore year. If you interviewed most of the seniors now, I'm sure they would unanimously appreciate that. We need to understand early on what specific colleges look for in the students that they accept, so that we can start building our resumes early. We would like to have more hands-on experiences with careers to get a better understanding of what people actually do. So we really like the career day and the career cruising that we already have available to us, but we feel that more resources would be much appreciated.
And then for some of the strengths we found in the district, where we found out that there's a lot of inspiration, interest, and motivation to pursue a subject or career path has come from many different people in the district, whether it's a janitor or a teacher, even a lunch lady. There's the staff in the district have done a really good job of inspiring other students to follow their goals and really follow their wants to pursue something they like in the future. And then we also acknowledge the successful resources we have, such as career cruising, also as well as career day, when we bring in successful people in their specific field for other students to interact with them to see if they're interested in that possible career.
Finally, many of the students at Oak Forest, when there was a show of hands at the previous meeting, and many of them were first generation college or had immigrant parents, things like that. So a lot of the parents have never been through the process before. So it would really help out if the schools could aid the students in the whole first time thing. And lastly, we feel that stronger test prep would be much appreciated and help the kids get into the schools that they deserve to be.
Are there any questions?
Well, item just like to know, now you had mentioned that college prep, you'd like to see it start earlier.
Yes.
Now, did you go out and talk to the seniors, or how many seniors did you talk to? Because you said that there were a lot of them that said that they would want it to start in freshman year.
Well, it's basically every single person that has been that idea has been mentioned to has been like really for it. And I know for me personally, I was kind of just thrown into it, and if I had gotten a better idea of it like sophomore year, I think I'd be in a much more prepared position. Well, it worked out fine, but I still think that had I been more prepared, it could work better. And I think we see a lot more kids going to schools that they should be in.
Sure. Now, when you were talking with some of the seniors, did any of them express interest, career readiness, tech schools or tech prep in our district or anything like that? Did that come up?
Can you explain?
Industrial arts, woods, shop, things like that.
I just talked to a pretty limited sample, but I'm sure I'm sure there's an audience for that.
Okay. But you didn't speak to any of them that had that kind of. Thank you.
Thank you. Culture and climate.
Hi, my name is Asia King, and I'm a senior at Tony Park High School, and we are here to talk about culture and climate. Over the last couple of weeks, we discussed what's wrong with our schools and what's right with our schools and how we can change it. We decided that culture and climate was a big issue for us because we're just not satisfied with the way our schools are ran. In a way that our dress code is implemented. Yes, we understand that there are rules and the rules need to be followed, but we think that as time changes, that we need to implement change, such as double standards for our dress code. Girls are held to a higher extent than boys are. For example, a girl can't wear spaghetti straps to school, and while a guy can get away with wearing muscle tees and white beaters, it's just unnecessary. We think it's unfair.
Also talking about the dress code, we noticed that throughout all four schools, everyone could kind of agree with, depending on the temperatures outside as well as in the building, it really varies from classroom to classroom. So in some instances, I know last year Tinley had a while where there wasn't really any heat going on. And we weren't allowed to wear jackets, we weren't allowed to use blankets or anything like that. So I think we all kind of were on the same page with it would be nice to be able to use those kind of things, like depending on the weather situation.
Hi, I'm Heather, and based off what my peers have just said, it also creates more problems than the original plan. Students in violation of the dress code, teachers will address the issue, and like they're supposed to, but it will take time out of class. It'll take more time out of class telling the student that they have to go change. And it's not only disrupting that student, but it's disrupting the entire classroom. And we understand that they have to follow the rules, but we have some changes that we hope will not only benefit the students, but the teachers as well.
Lastly, another problem we have with the dress code is Section 5 of Article 14 about the hat roll. The superintendent himself, when we were talking about it, how our dress code is simply like a ship moving and it takes a long time, and we understand that. But change needs to be implemented now because over time we want to see progress. Hats, for example, hats are supposed to be immediately taken off when they enter the school in any of our 4 buildings. And we have a problem with that. Computer recognition in Chicago especially, hats aren't a danger anymore. They were used back in the day when the dress code was implemented. For example, if you had a hat on, you were representing gangs, but that's not true. We just want our ears worn. It's cold. Thank you, we're done.
You had said you have some changes you would like to implement, and then you kind of left it open. Is there anything besides the wear hats and jackets?
Hats are dress code needs to be hats are dress code needs to be tweaked. Double standards needs to be taken out. Boys and girls.
What do you want? What do you want?
specifically?
Yes.
Shirts bother me. I mean, in our rule book, it says that our shoulders to our midriff must be covered. We understand that that's not nothing we're arguing against. It's just the fact that boys can get away with that and we can't. We have a problem with that, how boys and girls aren't held equally, but
So boys are wearing
yes,
tank tops and girls can't?
yes.
What about girls wearing had things on their head when boys can't wear a baseball cap, like or girls wearing tails?
I see mostly headbands and stuff during girls are a school issue, and I kind of have a problem with the fact that it goes against the rules, even though the school's giving it to the students. That's another problem. If everyone's not held equally, why have it at all?
Yeah, we have discussed this previously in the past. We're supposed to be training or guiding you to whatever's after us, either college or the workforce. And then you'll have to make these decisions on your own, whether it's can I wear a baseball hat or can I not wear a baseball hat? Am I going to get in trouble for wearing it? Am I not? So, good job.
Thank you.
I just want to, are you saying that when you have a hat and you walk into the building, you can't keep wearing it throughout the building? Is that what you want?
Not only am I saying that, but I'm saying that it's extreme. For example, I don't go to Burger myself, but we had Burger members in our team talk about there's a security guard specifically located at the front of the door in front of me, which I'm sure many people have encountered, that immediately yells at them as soon as they walk in the door with that, despite pointing other conditions like
Once you're into the building, why is the hat supposed to be removed?
I
They don't
figured,
walk to the locker.
yeah, so I figured you let us walk to our locker so we can put it up properly, but the rule book exactly says hats must be taken off immediately as enter the school grounds.
We're not trying to diminish the rules or try to change anything, but we're just hoping that we can meet each other somewhere in the middle. I mean, obviously, there's rules that we need to follow, and we won't do that, but we're just hoping that we can compromise.
So if you were to rewrite the rule, how would you rewrite it?
Hats should be taken off when we reach the destination of our lockers. Or even go so far as letting the teacher decide if you can wear a hat or not. I don't think it should go so far up to you guys deciding to do, because you're not there every day. You're not there with our weather conditions. And we completely understand that you guys are just trying to think the best of the school, but inside the school ourselves, sometimes we figure hats allowed. Hats may not distract us.
It would be similar to the cell phone if the teacher says when and where.
That's perfectly fine. I like that.
So, you know, I guess is the bigger issue are the buildings controlled? Is that what you're saying? Because I'm a little bit confused. So you're walking in, and then when you walk through the threshold of the door, you take your hat off. At that point, is your head still cold?
My head is freezing.
You might need to get a hat.
But it's also the fact that kids want to be able to wear a baseball cap.
Throughout the building during the day.
Not even just that. There's one man that fixed our heating system during winter, and it's Dr. Kendall Tony. And it takes some time for him to go through all 4 schools and implement the heat conditions that we need to survive. Therefore, I'm being told when he
Not say survive.
So yeah, we're a little cold.
Well, we need to make you guys comfortable as possible, because if you're not comfortable, you're not going to learn.
I just want to add, I was at the, part of the training meeting that they had, there was a very lively discussion about hats. And one of the young men sitting up here, okay, brought up, I thought a really interesting point. In my generation, and probably many of your generation, it was disrespectful to wear a hat inside.
Yes.
And his point was, that's not our generation. And I guess that's something that we need to look at, because I'm sure if you go into businesses now where jeans were never allowed, hats were never allowed, flip-flops, you're going to see a lot of that. And someone pointed out that when you get into the adult work world, you're going to have to follow your boss's rule or you're not going to get a paycheck. So I think this is a discussion that needs to be had. Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Thank you. Any other questions?
So do you think the time it takes for you to get to your locker, away from that cold draft that comes through the door, and
get to your locker, that'll be adequate, maybe. I don't know. What's the situation? I just want to.
I think that's a start. I think that's where we should begin. Maybe, like I said, like the cell phone rule, it's up to the teachers to decide. I think that maybe we should have a little more freedom than we have in the past, especially if they're not a serious crime, you know.
Especially if you get someone that they don't mark it on schools just because there is a rule.
And also, I've seen security guards themselves for hats, but it's not cases.
Dr. Kendall would like to know what procedure you would go after to slowly start that progress that you talked about of changing rules.
Okay, so we need to take off hat in my first week. I think that should change immediately.
But you don't get to do that by yourself.
No.
Talk to me about the process that you're going to pursue.
So you mentioned during our meetings that there are handbook meetings for students to attend. I'd like to attend. I'd like to sign up and help that change.
Give those people.
Also, I mean, little tweaks, we're not expecting change tomorrow. We're just hoping that our future generations, future students, won't have to struggle with with hats.
But we've talked as a group, they're going to talk, they're leaning on getting a committee, having one term.
Thank you. Good job.
Thank you. Quality school construction bond. So this is our capital plan. We were fortunate enough to receive $50 million QSCB, it's the Qualified School Construction Bonds. And with this money, it will be a win-win towards the taxpayers and with reconstructing our debt. Throughout the years annually, we will be saving $5 million annually. And this helps reduce our debt, like I said already. But really, it's going to help the taxpayers in our communities because our communities, we're going to build more facilities with these, and our property prices, our property values are going to go up, and we hope that the taxpayers will have some relief when we go through this process.
The 7-year capital plan will include for the following high school in the district: field house for Bremen, Tinley, Hillcrest, and Oak Forest, detention, ancillary space, turf football field, food service remodel, and a digital marquee for, once again, every school in the district. New roof for Bremen and Hillcrest, light poles for Tinley Park and Hillcrest, a new parking lot for Tinley Park, which is very much needed. Gym floor for Bremen, Tinley, and Oak Forest, band room expansion for Bremen, Tinley Park, and a cafe addition for Bremen.
So a lot of these facilities that we're going to be implementing are not only for safety, they're also for trying to better our schools and our communities overall. This will not only be helping our students, which is our primary goal as a school, but also the teachers and the coaches that are involved with a lot of the activities going on, as well as the taxpayers and the community overall, people that may not even have a part in the school usually. For the students, a lot of people think that our facilities, the big ones, the turf and the field house, are going to be only for sports. But that's not necessarily true. A lot of activities will benefit from this as well. For example, drama and band. Sometimes these activities are here until 11, 12 at night, and that is very detrimental to the students' academics and their health. Staying that late, they're not getting enough sleep. They have to go home and do homework after that. It is difficult for them to find the space to work on these things because there's constantly competition between all the activities going on around the school. So implementing these new facilities will allow us to have more space for all of these to go on. Also, within the field house, a lot of people, like I said, they think that it's only for sports. Every student in our school, other than those that are exempt, has to take a PE class.
With that, there are so many more opportunities that we can do with this because I know that what I've seen in our PE classes, we are constantly fighting over what class is using which gym, and it's constantly a battle. There are some days where we don't get the gym that we want, and we don't do as much in gym that day, so it's kind of difficult. And in the field house, they're going to be implementing more classrooms, so that will be helping out with the academic side of it. And I know this field house will help with more in-class opportunities because even for science classes and things like that, sometimes we've gone down to the gym for experiments like in physics, things like that. So this will provide more space to do those things that we may not have had before. For teachers and coaches, we'll be able to get them home earlier as well as the students get them home earlier, get everybody, they'll be able to have more time with their families, all of that, things that we think is very important, have more time for sleep, and of course academics, which is huge in our school. We don't want students going home at 10, 11 at night and then having to do homework and still on top of that have to get enough sleep for the next day and do it all over again. Taxpayers in the community, people that may not normally be involved with our school, they'll have an opportunity for that. It'll raise property value, it'll make the area look more desirable, more people will want to come into the area with a better school. And so with that, I think it will be benefiting everybody overall. So.
Any questions? All right, thank you. Teaching and learning.
So one of the things we discussed are the qualities that make teachers and the classroom engaging. Some of these qualities include energy and compassion. You won't have a bad day. There's teachers I've had that when you walk in and you can feel the energy, you can see that they care about what they're doing in their classroom. It just makes the rest of the day better, carries on throughout the rest of your classes, makes the class more engaging. Other qualities include homework flexibility. When you have time to work at your own pace, you have time to ask questions, get help when you need it. It really makes the class more enjoyable. It makes it better for learning. And another quality is creative and interactive. When a classroom is more creative and stands out from the other classes, it makes it more engaging. Like one of my classes, it's very interactive, so I look forward to that class every day. And having classes that work differently, they teach differently, that's what makes it more engaging. Some improvements for teaching and learning is the FLC tutoring. The tutors that we have right now, at all the schools, they're not being used as much as they could be. That's detrimental for the learning of the students who actually need the tutors, so an improvement may be better advertising or having it so that the students actually go to the tutors when they need it. Some of the strengths for teaching and learning is the integration of technology. For freshmen and sophomore, using iPads I'm in a class with freshmen and sophomore right now. I can see that the iPad has really helped out a lot of the students there. Another integration of technology is Kahoot, the game online. For that, in one of my classes, we use that for studying for quizzes. Right before the quiz, we play a game of that, and it really helps with reviewing and getting ready for a test. And finally, smart boards throughout the school. Those, for me, it revolutionized my math class. Like learning from a smart board, being able to interact with your notes and interact with all the things you're learning. It really helped me be more engaged with the classroom and also helped me learn the subject material better.
Any questions?
You were saying about the tutors. Can you go back over that? Are we not taking full advantage of it? Students are not taking full advantage of it?
Yes, right now we have a lot of FLC tutors, like students that go into the FLC or go into the GSA home for us to tutor. And in there, we're not being used that much. There's students that go in there, but they don't really go to the tutors that much. And that's one of the problems we think needs to improve.
Mr. Johnson, it's more the student tutors, not the adult tutors that we have on staff. It's more how the peer tutoring program. We talked about it's cumbersome for students to sign up or to get help and that's something more the student.
And they want to advertise, is that how, do more advertising for those students?
Just like make it known that there are peer tutors out here to help you. Like some students don't know that there's tutors after school, before school, during lunch hours. They don't know that there's tutors out there to help you. So better advertising for that would help us.
So then we would need something like the teachers to maybe suggest that they come down and meet with you guys, the ones that are struggling.
Yes, teachers, counselors, we can even do intercom announcements, stuff like that.
How is it advertised right now? I'm sorry. How is it advertised right now for those services?
For freshmen, the tutors are just in the back of the room for us. So if they need help, they'll go to it, but not that many students go to get help there. And I think it's in the announcements of the email, but not that many people look at that.
I think teachers recommend it as well, but it's not something we mandate.
Right.
How is it perceived by students? What's the thought of the students? Is it just not cool to go to a tutor? Does it make you look a certain way, or is it cool to go to or not cool? I mean, because for lack of a better word, we cool. That's quick.
I'm not sure if it's cool to go to the tutor, but some people just aren't dedicated enough to seek out help. And they rather go to an adult or not get help at all than just go to a peer tutor.
I think it would work if it came from the tutors. Like if you came to me and said, hey, I'm really good at quadratic equations, let me help you out, because you knew that's what I needed. I mean,
Well, that's one of the things we did in the FLC. Like we were asked students if they needed help with a certain subject, and that's what we did. But we still noticed that not that many students are going there. And then, of course, in the GC, not that many students above the freshman level are going out to get help.
sometimes you're so confused you can't identify what the help is. I just don't get it.
Nigeria, I got another question for you. You touched on the iPads. Freshmen and sophomores obviously are using them right now. And you're a senior?
Yes.
Okay, so have you used them in the classrooms? The iPads?
I haven't used an iPad, but I've seen them being used.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, a certain amount of iPads are available for junior and senior classes, correct, if they want to use them?
There are some classes in departments and certainly juniors and seniors that didn't purchase iPads.
Okay, are the teachers using it as part of their curriculum for the higher level, for juniors and seniors?
Yeah, again, they're meant for some classes. You run into issues if somebody wants it the same period, so you've got to check out issues.
You have to use your phone in classroom?
Yes. Like if you don't have an iPad, you can usually use your phone unless there's a certain software that you need.
Okay, be honest, are you jealous that the freshmen and sophomore get it and you guys don't?
At times.
So I hope not to date myself here, but back in the day, there used to be like a homework hotline. And the perception is in fact the issue is there may be an opportunity to use these iPads and or your cell phone, and maybe students can email you or ping you if you have a question regarding their homework, and in that way you know to expect somebody, or maybe they're just shy and don't want to do face-to-face, or maybe there's an opportunity there to do something, and during that time you can answer emails or questions regarding homework.
I think that would be a good idea. Like some teachers already do that, where they have a app where you can email the teacher, you can send the teacher your homework and ask for something like that. But I think integrating that for the student tutors would also be a good idea.
So in my experience with the technology, most of my teachers have Google Classroom codes, and if you can talk to your teacher, and most of the time you can comment on the assignment that's on the Google Classroom, and talk with the students in that class and ask for help that way.
they were embarrassed and hesitant to go see a tutor, our tech department somehow set the tutors up in the classroom and say, you're going to be available from here to here. They can just log in that way. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, Google Classroom is also one of the technologies that has been really helpful. And I think showing students that they can use that to contact their teachers, like some students only think that you can use that to submit assignments, so.
Well, I'm talking about connecting with you though. You're saying that it can connect with you.
Us, we can use that also.
Is this only during school hours or is it after school?
Well, we have tutors before school, after school, and during all of the lunch hours.
And do you think it's just during the lunch hour that teachers want the break to have
Probably.
Do you see more utilization before or after school, or it's just flat in all three times?
We get most of our students going during lunch. Like they spend 1 hour, 1/2 an hour for their break, another half hour to get help, or to just do homework.
All right, thank you. Do we have any comments or questions from the public? Thank you. Would Superintendent Ray Hefner please provide your report for the evening?
Since the last regular board meeting, you received the following Freedom of Information Act request. Ms. Gabriella Marcella, Data Acquisition Specialist from Smart Procure, has requested all purchase orders from September 8th, 2016 to date, including PO number, date, line item, details, quantity, price, and vendor information. This request has been completed in the student superintendent's report. I hope you enjoyed tonight's board meeting. In preparing for this meeting, our students have shared their thoughts regarding educational programs and worked very hard to learn the workings of the Board of Education. Behind the scenes, there are others who work to make this evening a success. I would like to thank our associate principals and our assistant principals for teaching and learning, for working with the students to ensure they were prepared. Also, I would like to thank the Oak Forest High School maintenance staff for providing us with a special setup for this meeting. Preparations are beginning for the 2017-2018 school year. Students are in the process of selecting their courses and will soon be calculating the number of teacher sections and making very important staff decisions. As in the past, our objective is to provide our students with the best possible schedule within the financial constraints of our budget. Later on tonight's agenda, you will see my recommendation for board approval on a memorial resolution honoring Mr. Keith Anderson. Mr. Anderson served District 228 students as a fine arts department supervisor, and sadly, he has passed away on January 7th. At this time, I would like to share some information about Mr. Anderson's career in education. Mr. Anderson was employed in our school district from 1993 until he passed away. During his tenure, he worked as a band director, music teacher, and fine arts department supervisor. Prior to starting his career with us, Mr. Anderson was employed at Lincoln Elementary School in District 147 and as department chairperson in Corporate Community Schools of America. Mr. Anderson's professional music career includes working with both the Shreveport Symphony Orchestra and the New Orleans Philharmonic Orchestra. He also spent time as a drummer for R&B recording artists, the OJs, the Dramatics, the Lights, and the Free Street Theater in Chicago. I'm sorry, Shy Lights. During his career in education, Mr. Anderson received numerous awards, including the prestigious Golden Apple Award for Excellence in Teaching, the Y Award from the YMCA, and the Vision Quest Award for Outstanding Achievement, presented by the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. Mr. Anderson also offered his expertise by working with many organizations over the years. He served as Illinois District 1 President for the Illinois Music Educators Association. as a guest speaker and panelist for the Conference Board's annual Business Education Conference and the Governor's Blue Ribbon Committee on the improvement of teaching as a profession, as well as a facilitator for the Foundation of Excellence in Teaching at the University of Illinois. At this time, I would like to ask for a moment of silence as we remember Mr. Keith Anderson. Thank you.
Do you have any reports from board members this evening?
Not so much a report, but just would like to kind of reiterate some stuff about Mr. Anderson. Some personal things. Back in the 90s, I had a lot of contact with Mr. Anderson. I was a football coach at Hillcrest for many years, and he was our band director, and he did a fabulous job with our kids there. And I believe that we were the #1 band in the state at that particular time, our marching band. They were constantly winning awards, constantly being invited to different competitions around the state. So I'd just like to say a few things like that in remembrance. And not only that, my contact with him, but he had contact with my son at Finley High School that was in the band. And, you know, I had a talk with my son the other day about it, and, you know, he was a little broke up. Mr. Anderson worked hard with him, with the drums, and taught him a lot of different techniques, and, you know, he went that extra mile with my son, and I'm sure he did that with a lot of other sons and daughters. So it was really sad news, and, you know, obviously, my thoughts and prayers, you know, are with the family, and he'll be missed. He really will. He was a good man. He was a good man.
I just wanted to bring up, the kids are asking for a lot more activities, sports-wise, and even though it may cost the district a few extra dollars, but we're going to put $75 million out there. We should expand our sports program as well to include the lacrosse team. Growing district team, this would be, and helping kids that may not participate in any other type of sport. I know that it's cost about $100,000, but we get ready for $75 million out there. Not to build a structure out there and not maximize its potential for such as a football player and the turf. I think it would be a great loss to this district if kids will have to go to different private schools where they offer a couple of scholarships and years come out there. Probably
I'd just like to add that, you know, lacrosse is a very growing sport, and I've played since 4th grade, and I'd just like to say that I think it would benefit this district to have a lacrosse team. I know that I've met a lot of new people from playing the sport, and, you know, just making those relationships with other coaches and players from the areas. I think that, you know, lacrosse scholarships are out there for our students too, because it's such a growing sport that a lot of colleges want to start programs, and they're definitely looking for kids to play. And I think that's a great way to get a scholarship and go to college.
I would just like to say that, you know, we let our speak, but we can't do. I just want to say just a few words about Mr. Anderson. I got to first meet him Institute Day. We were in a meeting once, and we were talking about our music department, and I said, Keith Anderson, he's the one. And so I had to go to Institute Day to make sure I knew more about Mr. Anderson, and went to Institute Day. I had a plethora of information that he was very knowledgeable, very professional. He just left a great impression on me. Just a fellow musician, he was very well-rounded in everything that he did. He tried to be great, just great about it. I'd just like to say that my condolences to the Anderson family. Keith Anderson was a professional who had a passion for music. The people he worked for and with he has definitely left his legacy and love for music, and may his memory forever live in our hearts. He's touched so many lives, not just through music, but through just his life and his lifestyle. And so I just thank him for the life that he has led, and he will truly be missed.
I just want to say thank you to all the students tonight for participating. I'm very impressed with all that you've had to bring to the table. I'm also nerve-wracking to get up here and speak to all of us, but many of you are seniors and you won't see a lot of the changes that you're asking to be implemented. You have siblings that will, but it's really great of you to give your time to talk about wanting to make changes to the school, to the district. So kudos to all of you. I'm very impressed with everything that you did and the time that you spent. So thank you. Your input is very valuable to us, and we will take all of your requests into consideration. And I'd also like to express my condolences to the Anderson family. Being a band mom for many years and in fine arts, Mr. Anderson had a lot to offer to our district, and he will be very missed.
I'd like to add my condolences also to the Anderson family. Mr. Anderson and he started at the district the same year I came on board, so I've had many years of experience watching his students from Hillcrest and his expertise as a department chair. And certainly he leaves a hole in our organization that will be tough to fill. And I also like to thank the students who participated tonight. I was able to attend part of their training session, if you will, and while they learned about the administration and the jobs that each of the administrators do, we certainly learned a lot from them and got a perspective that we don't see every day. So I think this is really an exciting meeting and one that I look forward to every year, and I thank all of them for giving their time to participate and certainly for expressing their views.
The Bremen Township Trustees and Schools met on January 9th. The Treasurer's Office generated $600,000 in interest earnings last year. Our average investment is about 1 year, and our returns are beating the 1-year Treasury bill rate of return. The Treasurer's Office, through its investment strategy, has added about $310 million in revenue annually into our pool funds.
I'd also like to thank all the kids for coming out tonight. This is one of our favorite meetings. As far as Mr. Anderson and his family, my condolences as well. And aside from him being a talented musician, he really cared about kids and looked for ways that kids was struggling in one area or another. Even if it wasn't a kid that was involved in the music department, he always tried to get himself involved and tried to get that kid back on the right track. And again, I'm going to suggest that we start up the parent-teacher student advisory group again. I brought this up a couple months before, or several months. As we see tonight, there's kids who come up and have suggestions, and we're hearing them like once a year. And all these kids have such good ideas, and there's parents that have changes that they would like to see that they're not given an avenue to voice those either. I'm sure teachers as well. We talked about the baseball hat thing in the past. And Mr. Canning had a question about kids having questions about career and technology-wise, and we keep talking about building these links with either people in the community, career-related, to guide our students. And I'm again gonna say that I really think we need a person to just be, I don't know what we call them, our career person, for arranging speakers or whatever, so kids want to learn about a specific career that they have that, to develop the community relationships, so we can get some internships going. I spoke to someone a couple nights ago who's a contractor, who's trying to set something up where a community buys a foreclosed house, and the students in the high school would build it being oversaw by local contractors. And since we've opened up the Pandora's box or whatever, and adding sports and activities, I'd like us to consider ROTC, we have a very high percentage of kids that go into the military. And I'm, the chief of Hazel Crest Police asked me to have us look into that as well. He thinks it would be good for us. If I remember correctly, the evaluation process, we had a year to, we were gonna reevaluate if any changes we want any activity suggested. Is that, am I remembering right? Are we gonna relook at it every year, or there's something that might be state or something, do you have something with it?
Yeah, the Parent Committee was 2 years ago, so you have 30 days in that negotiation piece, so we're not held by the state requirements at this point, so it's all internal things that we want to change. So on one level, yes, the Parent Committee, now the DAC is going to look at the changes to the super program. We also get feedback from the teachers.
For some reason, I had in my head that we had like, I don't know, the deadline was coming out or something. We had, if we were gonna make any changes, we had to now, because by now, everybody was through the cycle once.
Everyone's through the growth model now once, right? So now we're looking to make any changes for the next cycle. But there's no hard net deadline.
Okay.
It's our own internal, we want to try to have any changes done by the beginning of May so that we can let the staff know.
I mean, so that's just, if anybody has anything, they should get to their person on the committee and give them your input.
You've had discussions with the evaluation model as well.
That's all I got.
Thank you. At this time, we will have reports from the committees that met since the last board meeting. Would Alicia Kolacki please provide the Finance Committee report?
The chairperson, Ms. Ressler, called the meeting to order at 6:07. Ms. Ressler, Mr. Canning, Ms. Camworth, and Mr. O'Malley were present, and Mr. Goggins was a guest. New business. The committee reviewed and discussed the January bills, impress, expenditures, and deposits. These items have been reviewed with the superintendent, who is recommending full board approval of the January bills, addendum to bills, impress, expenditures, and deposits. The Finance Committee reviewed the CDS January bills totaling $19,355.53. The Finance Committee is recommending full board approval of the CDS January bills as presented. The Finance Committee reviewed the bids from the spring athletic supply bid opening. The Finance Committee is recommending that the full board consider the low bids totaling $24,286.48. Next meeting is February 13th, 2017, at 7 p.m. in the Administration Center. The meeting was adjourned at 6:15.
Thank you. Would Austin Franzak please provide the Policy Committee report?
Ms. Gleason called the meeting to order at 4:45. In attendance, Ms. Gleason, Ms. Jones, Dr. Kendall, Mr. Voss, and absent was Mr. Johnson. The committee reviewed the following request recommendations: board member development, board member compensation expenses, types of school board meetings, school board meeting procedure, purchases and contracts, accounting audits, transportation, convicted child sex offender, criminal screening notifications, hiring process and criteria, expenses, staff development program, personal technology and social media usage and conduct, family and medical leave, teacher qualifications, leave of absence, student teachers, sick days, vacations, holidays and leaves, school accountability, school wellness, curriculum content, education of homeless children, migrant students, English learners, Title I programs, graduation requirements, high school credit for non-district experiences, course substitutions, re-entry students, student testing and assessment program, student assignment and intra-district transfer, school admissions and student transfers to and from non-district schools, residence, attendance and truancy, student behavior, student sports services, exemption from physical education, student-athlete concussions and head injuries, restrictions on publications, high schools, accommodating individuals with disabilities, and relations with other organizations and agencies. The committee asked Dr. Kendall to bring these recommendations to the full board for first reading at the January 17th meeting. The meeting adjourned at 5:47.
Thank you. Mrs. Stearns was unable to attend the meeting due to the township meeting. So would Alicia Kalaki please provide the personnel committee report?
Ms. Ressler called the meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. Mr. Canning, Ms. Ressler, and Dr. Goggins were present. Mrs. Stearns was absent, and Mrs. Camworth was a guest. There was no old business. New business was Dr. Goggins presented the following certificated staff recommendations for discussion. Tinley Park, the approval of the appointment of a science tutor. District, the approval of the retirement request of a fine arts supervisor. After review of all certificated staff items, the committee agreed to make a recommendation to the full board for approval. Dr. Goggins presented the following educational support personnel recommendations for discussion. Hillcrest, the approval of the appointment of a special education aide. Next meeting will be February 13th, 2017 at 6:30 p.m. at the Administration Center. The meeting was adjourned at 6:37 p.m.
Thank you. At this time, we will begin the new business items. Paul Wilson, would you please present item 11.1, bills, addendum to bills, payroll, and CD bills?
Board members, item 11.1, bills, addendum to bills, payroll, and CDS bills. These items have been reviewed by the Finance Committee, and along with the superintendent, they are being recommended to the full board for approval.
So moved. Olivia.
Second, Alicia Kalaki and Mrs. Russell.
Olivia and Alicia. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please. Olivia. Aye. Austin.
Aye.
Charlie.
Aye.
Darlene Ward. Motion carries. Paul Wilson, would you please present item 11.2, spring athletic supplies and equipment?
Board members, item 11.2 pertains to spring athletic supplies and equipment. These items have been reviewed by the Finance Committee, and along with the superintendent, they are being recommended to the full board for approval.
So moved. Alicia Kalaki and Mrs. Russell.
Second, Olivia Clinton.
Motion made by Kalaki and seconded by Douglas. Any discussion? Has this increased or decreased from previous years?
Slightly down, about $1,000 down.
Roll call, please.
Olivia. Austin.
Aye.
Charlie.
Aye.
Berlina. Peyton. Alicia. Rachel.
Motion carries. Ava Granberry, would you please present item 11.3, overnight field trip request? Amir.
Thank you. Board members, item 11.3 is overnight field trip request for 3 of our